We have 4 fabulous women. We're going to keep this to the point, but this is a very important panel. So, Lisa Holewyne, Daisy Lang, Terri Moss, and Jamie Rocky Johnson. So, here I have an example of 4 people with really good lives. All of them were champions. And all of them had to step out of the ring. So I'm just going to keep this concise and to keep it flowing. I'm going to ask them 3 questions. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, and I'm going to ask them all the same 3 questions, and we will just go from person to person, and then we're going to open it up to the floor and go into open mic. So first, let me have them introduce themselves. Jamie?
Hi everybody, just a pleasure to be here. I'm Jamie Rocky Johnson from England, and I was boxing in the late 1980s up until about 2016.
If you say so.
Yeah, if you can call it boxing actually, what I was doing. Yeah.
Lisa?
I'm Lisa Holewyne. I'm from Texas. And I was lucky enough to fight for several years. And I fought my wife, and now I'm happily married to my wife. And Champ's watching me, so I got to be on my best behavior.
Daisy?
I'm Daisy Lang, and I'm a boxing pioneer, world champion in boxing. I was born in Bulgaria. I achieved my goals in Germany. Germany became my second country. And America, the US, became my 3rd country where I got appreciation and opened the doors for so many women.
Terri?
I'm Terri Moss. I boxed a short time, 2002 until 2007, because I started at 36 years old. It's just crazy that I even did this. Talk about doing something nobody thought you would do. But I knew I had a short career, so do a lot of things behind that, but yeah, and I got to become world champion. Never got to fight for a WBC, but now Mr. Holewyne has given me one.
And Terri, what do you do now?
I own a gym. It's a big, giant gym in Atlanta, Georgia, and I train fighters. I run fitness programs. I have a collegiate boxing team. I train some pros, amateurs. I promote shows. I do a lot of things. Anything you could ever do in boxing, we do it. We've got the come all and get all boxing place in Atlanta.
Daisy?
Every fighter, after finish the career, has a problem to adapt to the regular life. In my situation was different because I had a medicine degree, especially physical therapy, and I always wanted to prepare if I get hurt in my active time when I box, what I gonna do. Because you know how hard it is in the time when you're the first one, everything was against me. And actually these difficult moments as a pioneer of women boxing in Europe make me to adapt very quickly to a new situation, to learn new languages, to adapt the culture in any country where I live. And yeah, Claudia, you are not alone. Definitely, I had many questions. You speak with accent, you don't speak the language well, where you're coming from, and blah, 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 you know? So be yourself. I will say only that boxing gave me a lot of confidence in my normal life, and I always said boxing is comparing to the normal life, because girls, after you finish your career, the fighting is going on in different direction. And this all experience, what we have in the sport activity, you bring to the regular life. And I remember all difficult moments when I was attacked for what I want to do, and I fought for women's rights in my country. It helps me to survive. That's why I'm
So
here.
you're a physical
and I
therapist?
Feel, yes.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
Lisa, what is it that you do now?
Oh, I own a remodeling company and an AC company in Austin, Texas.
Cool. Jamie?
I'm lucky enough to be a borough councillor in Tunbridge Wells, Liberal Democrat. But I would like to say, for, as everybody's saying, when you do sort of hang up your gloves, I would recommend to everybody, keep training though. Actually just keep going into the gym, whatever you're doing, because I think one of the biggest mistakes is if people think, okay, that's it, and they stop. I think, there's no sport like boxing, but there's no sport like the training of boxing, and it's so therapeutic to everybody. And I just kept training by accident, really, and I run a cleaning business, and that keeps me active as well, and I do a bit of security, and I just think all of it together, keep training.
So these are my 3 questions, and we'll just go around, and then I'd like to open it up, bring Mauricio back on stage, and open it up to the open mic for anyone who has questions. So my question is this: who were you before boxing? Who are you after boxing? And what have you learned from that career? You can start.
Well, boxing absolutely saved me. I know that's a cliche, but I was an absolute deadbeat beforehand. I drank, I smoked, I caused trouble everywhere I went, I'm ashamed to say, for various reasons. As a very troubled teenager, as often we are, misunderstood, and I was horrible, and very ashamed of that, and my poor father didn't live to see me change. But boxing absolutely changed everything. Suddenly I became, what's the right word, disciplined. I started to feel better about myself. I got fitter, mentally fitter, and going from, I'll be quite honest, being arrested and things like that, I now sit on a police sort of commission, independent police advisory group. I'm an independent critical incident advisor for Kent Police. It's incredible, but they know my past, and as I say, I'm now a Tunbridge Wells Borough Councillor, which is fantastic, and I have to be honest, I owe it to boxing and all my trainers, Johnny Gleed, the Maloneys, and the people that helped me, and people like Sue Fox, who has put this out there, for everybody. I could go on forever, so I will stop.
Don't. Though it's interesting. Lisa.
I might be the most boring one up here. I've always been pretty much who I am. I'm a solid B at almost everything I've done, but I've had I was blessed with a really strong work ethic, so I'm able to get to a B+, maybe a little better on a push, and my work ethic has caused me to be successful. So skill-wise, a B will do it if you work your ass off.
Daisy?
Before I became a world champion, I was a dreamer because in my country, Bulgaria, nobody heard about women boxing, and I start with dreams, they come true. After I achieved my goals, I am so thankful from everything what I needed to go through, and boxing teach me to survive, to achieve the maximum strength in any ability and work what I want to do, to have success in everything what I try to do, and not to be afraid to fall down and to start a new beginning.
Thank you, Daisy. Terry?
Boxing gave me cojones. That's pretty much it. But before boxing, I did have a career. I was in law enforcement for 14 years. I worked undercover with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Task Force, and I worked narcotics, and I did things that were fun and exciting, but I did what I was told, which is why I was able to do it. Incentive was my hard thing, and kind of near the end of that career, I stumbled into a boxing gym, and I was definitely afraid of that stuff. But it's like 3 months later, I was still there, and a year later, I was still there, and now 25 years later, I'm still there. And it just taught me how to really go after what I want. I don't take no for an answer. I can shove through the door. I can climb the mountain. I can swim the ocean. It doesn't matter. They don't call me, in my gym, my ring name was the Boss because it rhymes with my last name. But it's like I've molded into that person, and that's really been the best.
It's wonderful. Does anybody have any questions for any of these ladies who are up here right now?
Lisa, so I was around, of course, when you decided to fight Christy Martin. In fact, you called me while I was at work, telling me you were going to fight her. What in the world got you guys back together after you fought in the ring?
It took years, mostly because I lost. That doesn't, losses, any athlete, it doesn't go away. But I got the opportunity to meet her as a human being. And when I realized that she was nothing like her persona and the person that she was, we became friends. I mean, I felt a same-ism, which is partly why I think we ended up falling in love and getting married, because a culture is important. Not necessarily, a nationality, but a commonality. And after I got over most of losing, I was able to see her for who she was. Most of losing.
I actually promoted a show with two girls that fought each other, and one of them got knocked out, and then they got married too. So
That would never
I guess
happen.
it's a thing. I guess it's a thing.
It never happened.
That happened to me also. My wife knocked me out and then we got married. It has been a wonderful panel because we can see you represent what we all expect from a fighter, to carry on, to move on in life, and like Claudia said, full speed, no turning back. There's so many options in life.